For today's running of the NASCAR Slim Jim All-Pro Series Goodies 200. What have we got for you today, fans? Well, we've got the Slim Jim All-Pro cars, and this is one of the most exciting divisions NASCAR has to offer. Hi, I'm Bill Weber, and in this race, we've got 2,800-pound cars with fiberglass body. The power plant, well, you can pretty much yank one out of a Busch Series car and put it into one of these cars. They're running on Hoosier Bias Ply tires. Now, you get 4 to start the race, and then you get 4 more during the race. Any 4 you want, but you can't take one off the rental car. The fuel cells are 22 gallons. How far can you go on 22 gallons? Well, this is a 200-lap race. You might be able to go 198 or 199. Think somebody might try it? I do. There are 2 other things you got to keep in mind here. Track knowledge, you're going to want it. And brakes, you better have them.
Well, Bill, the field is lined up 32 strong. 36 cars were attempting to qualify. Only 32 would make the starting field 28 by virtue of qualifying and 4 provisional starters. Hello, everyone. I'm Sherry Punch along with Benny Parsons. And Benny, as Bill said, this is one of the NASCAR touring series, much like the Truck Series or the Busch Grand Nationals. And just like the Busch cars, the engines are 9.5-to-1 compression, 358 cubic inches with 390 carburetors. But that's where the similarity stops.
Exactly right, because these cars, Jerry, just 2,800 pounds. We see 358, 9-to-1. The wheelbase, 101 to 105. Busch car is 105. 2,800 pounds with the driver. A Busch car is 3,300 pounds. The height, 47 inches. Busch car, 51 inches. Clearance, 4 inches. And all the cars will be running on the Hoosier tires.
And just like the other series, this series can be used as a stepping stone to get to the major leagues. You know, basically, the guys can come out of this series and make it to Winston Cup if they want to.
Because the word NASCAR, let's face it, this is NASCAR Touring Series, and the word NASCAR is magic in stock car racing.
Take a look at our Suzuki starting lineup. We said 32 cars will start. How about Kevin Evans, his first ever pole in the Slim Jim All-Pro Series? 27-year-old driver, the Evans Construction Chevrolet, will start on the front row alongside Randy Renfro.
See Tony Walsh, Shane Hall, Toby Porter, Ron Young, the top 6. Mike Cope, Stephen Christensen, Carl Long, and Wayne Anderson, the top 10. Bobby Hamilton, Winston Cup driver, back in the 11th spot. Wayne Willard, Terry Harris, Rick Crawford, and Tammy Jo Kirk. The lady in the field is 15th. Take a look through 16 through 30.
And Jeff Fultz, leading Rookie of the Year contender in 16th spot. Hank Parker Jr. back there. Kevin Prince, you know, William Alsop. There's Nipper Alsop. That's Bill Alsop's son. You see him back in the field. The provisional starters, George Ingold, and the car 33 of Conrad Burr, along with the 41 machine of Mark Gerke and the 3 car of Daniel Johnson. Those not making the field, Robert Burrows, Donnie Bishop, Skip Pennell, and Spanx Overbeck. Our race analysis, the length of this event, 200 laps. The pole speed, 93.230 miles per hour, not a record. The race record is 61.640, and the purse almost $54,000 for the NASCAR Slim Jim All-Pro Series Goody's Headache Powder 200. Let's go down to Bill Weber.
Well, we already have our first problem of the race. Randy Renfro has brought his car onto pit road. It would not start. They had to push start it when they gave the command to roll out. So they're going to change the battery. Originally, they weren't going to let him come in and do this, but they're going to change the battery behind the left rear wheel and then try and get him back out. So they're working on that right now. They've got a fresh battery laying right here and trying to slide it in there and get it back out on the track. Back up to you guys.
What a tough break for the outside front row starter, Randy Renfro, with the North Carolina Sweet Potato Association Ford Thunderbird. Today's field, 32 cars. The bulk of them are Chevrolets, 25, 6 Fords, and 1 Pontiac. Rick Monroe waves the green flag. First of 200 consecutive laps here at Martinsville Speedway.
Blue car, 14. Rick Crawford, the leader, as a matter of fact, in the All-Pro point standings.
They are too wide in turn 1. Meanwhile, Kevin
Evans. And we've got caution flag on the racetrack because a hood is laying on the track.
Part of a hood. See that fiberglass that Bill was talking about? There's another one that is flapping. You see that roof cam on the Jimmy V Foundation car, number 15 of Carl Long. And that debris will bring out caution for the first time today here on the very second lap of the event.
Man, somebody got a tough break. There it is. Hank Parker must be his hood that we see laying on the track.
We'll show you again what happened to Hank Parker Jr.'s hood. And you see the 14 car, that is Rick Crawford, right side of your screen.
Wayne, and there we see the 15 car make contact. Crawford gets in the back of him. And the 01 Wayne Willard, and back there in the very back, the dark colored car with the green trim is Hank Parker. And as he comes down the front straightaway, he'll lose the hood.
And that car having sustaining some damage. Carl Long, 28-year-old driver, making only his second start, qualified ninth, but already has damage, as Kevin Evans is our leader here after 2 laps. Our coverage of the Goody's Headache Powder 200 is being brought to you by Suzuki. Your Suzuki motorcycle and ATV dealer has the ride you've been waiting for and the financing to get it. By the more than 1,250 AutoZone stores across America. AutoZone, the best parts in auto parts. And by Quaker State, the motor oil that exceeds the highest standards for engine protection. We are working caution for the first time today. An incident coming out of turn 4 that involved some debris and a hood on the racetrack.
Okay, there we see the black car is going to lose a hood. There it starts up, and there it goes. Flap.
That's Hank Parker Jr. His Delco Voyager machine Chevrolet. Now, also involved in that was the car number 15 that had been involved in a shunt, Carl Long. He had been on pit road. Well, this was the actual incident initially.
And there we see, and there Mike Cope is the benefactor in the back of his car.
Now, he had exited pit road, was headed back on the racetrack, and the hood blew off. They were trying to tape it down, and there's what's left of the front hood on that Chevrolet Monte Carlo of the car number 15, Carl Long. Still under caution for the first time today here at Martinsville Speedway. 6 of 200 laps are complete.
Due to time constraints, we now move ahead in this ESPN program.
Back at Martinsville Speedway, NASCAR Slim Jim All-Pro Series action. Second caution flag came out on the restart on lap number 8 when the car number 41, that's the orange picked car there in the middle of your screen, gets into the side. It's a little bit of a nudge into the 3 car, Benny, and that's all it took.
Well, he tried to turn away from the 3 car to keep him spinning in and out, and actually spun himself out. And meanwhile, back to Terry Harris, the 18 car. Here he comes off the corner after Love Tap from the 52, and there he goes, almost in the wall, but no damage.
As we are reset, there he is back underway. The car number 18 making it back on the racetrack, Terry Harris, and the green being waved once again by Rick Monroe. Slim Jim All-Pro flagman, lap 15, that last caution lasting 5 laps.
The second place car is Shane Hall. That's the white 85. Kevin Evans in the white 54 is the leader. Meanwhile, good battle before between that's Tony Walls in the 81, Toby Porter in 44, and Mike Cope in 57.
Average speed on these cars is 93 miles an hour, but they're well over 100 on the straightaway.
All right. Battle still rages for, what is that, 4th? 4th, 5th, and 6th. And Ron Young, the 4 car, takes a look. Try to get on the inside of Shane Hall.
Ron Young, one of the series veterans, looking to the inside. Shane Hall, who opted not to run the All-Pro Tour this year, is running for Rookie of the Year in the Busch Series. The NASCAR, one of NASCAR's other touring series.
Oh, some contact between Toby Porter and Tony Walls.
Mike Cope wisely getting on the brakes back there so he wouldn't get into the back of the 44 car of Porter. Now Porter looks to the inside. That's the 57 car radio. David Green's actually spotting for Mike Cope. David, the former Busch Series champion, 1994 Series champion, and of course, current leader in the Busch Series point standings, and a good friend of Mike Cope, sitting up and spotting for him. There's a shot of David Green.
And Diane
White Diane Hollingsworth Green sitting to his left.
Well, right now, it looks like Tony Walls might be holding this group up just a little bit. And the way that Toby Porter's been beating on that back bumper, that would indicate that he's holding up a little bit.
Our field summary shows that our pole sitter still leading Kevin Evans. Those numbers in parentheses, in case you're not familiar with the field summaries, where that car started. For example, Anderson started in 10th, now running in 9th spot.
And Rick Crawford took a look on the outside of Steven Christensen. Back there we see, and Crawford is going to look like he's going to make it work.
Let's check into the pits with Bill Weber.
Well, there could be a problem for our leader, Kevin Evans. He's reported that his water temperature is 260 degrees, and it's coming out of the overflow. They've got towels down here. 41 goes around, and the caution comes back out. We'll wait and see if he comes in here, guys.
Man, that's a tough break for Kevin Evans.
Here's a replay again, what happened to the 41 car of Gerke. Mark Gerke spinning for the second time. This time he had a little help.
Yes, that's Hank Parker in the 86 car that goes in the corner. Thought he was going to get alongside Mark Gerke. Could not. When Gerke closed the door, the nose of the 86 car was there. And we should give some credit to Steve Gray for the crew chief on the 84 car. Henley Gray, that used to run in Winston Cup back in the 70s and 80s.
Yeah.
He and his son Steve have been helping Kevin Evans, and it looks like they've been doing a pretty good job. He's on the pole.
Kevin is out of Rome, Georgia, which is where Henley and Steve Gray are from. So certainly a good combination. Under caution for the third time today after 23 of 200 laps. We'll be back. Back just in time to Martinsville Speedway as the green flag waves here on lap 27. Last caution flag 4 laps for the spin by the car number 41. And the car number 11 has been black flag. Randy Renfro has made a stop and go on the pit road. And Kevin Evans is our leader, but challenges all through the top 5.
That's a battle once again for 4th spot. The 2 black cars. Tony Walls in 81 from Albertville, Alabama. And the 44 car of Toby Porter, I think around Greenville, South Carolina. And I'll tell you what, he has given Tony Walls all he wants, and Walls way down the racetrack.
Toby Porter is 21 years old, been running the series since he turned 16 back in 1991. Imagine being a series veteran at the age of 21. And there's our point leader, Rick Crawford, who started 14th, now being shown up in 7th spot. He's cut the deficit in half after 27 laps. He won the season opener this year down at Volusia County Speedway back in February.
Rick Crawford using a Harold Eatman motor out of North Carolina. Eatman with a little help from Robert Yates on this 9.5-to-1 stuff. And Crawford tries to dive to the inside of Cope. You're right, the race.
Be patient, buddy. Be patient. Good job. I'll let you know if he gets there.
Toby Porter not giving Tony Walls even a chance to take a deep breath on those straightaways. 44 is Porter, and the 81 is Tony Walls.
And once again, tries to dive to the inside, does Porter. See Mark Gerke coming out of the back fence.
Here's an incident that occurred just a moment ago. Tammy Jo on the outside. She's in the 52 car and gets a little bit of a nudge.
Ah, is the 18, is that not the same car that she had the love tap with a few moments ago?
I think that's Terry Harris, who she tapped from behind, and he's spun. Now you're riding along with the roof cam for Tammy Jo Kirk.
The new sponsor that Tammy Jo picked up since her last race, Lovables. Lingerie for women. Oops, we see Tammy Jo missed a corner there a little bit. Had to stop and get it back under check.
There she
back
is.
Under control.
Out of Beaufort, Georgia. And once
there we go.
Porter and Walls come together. Walls will spin up toward the wall. No caution as of yet. Now they wave the yellow flag for the 4th time. And Tony has the car refired as the leaders now are coming out of turn 4. Tony will need to get that car turned around to keep from losing. He will not lose a lap. He will fall in behind at the tail of the field here on lap number 35. He knew something had to give him. This battle was getting closer and closer.
Yes, it was. There we see Toby Porter once again trying to get to the inside, trying to outbrake him this time, but he could not do it. To go in the corner, and just a little bump in the left rear.
Let's go down to Bill Weber, who's caught up with the guy who started on the front row.
And Randy Renfro still sits in his car. I know he's disappointed. Had a battery go sour on him before the start. Randy, are you out of the race? What happened?
Yeah, my bad luck continues. I ain't had any luck lately. I cranked my car up, sitting on the back straightaway to go back around the lineup, and my battery blew up. You know, I don't know why this stuff keeps happening to me, but it's North Carolina Sweet Potatoes and Nitco Tire Company Thunderbird. It was good. I qualified on the outside pole. I knew we had a good chance to win this race. And now on top of everything else, I got another little problem with my temperature. So I'm so many laps down, there's no need to burning my car and my motor up.
Randy Renfro started up front, but he's one of the first guys out of the race.
Tough break for Renfro. Some of the Winston Cup stars and their crew chiefs. Ted Musgrave there on the right. There's Mark Martin as they are talking with Jack Roush as they are watching some of the rising young stars in the NASCAR Slim Jim All-Pro Series compete here at Martinsville, Virginia. We'll be back. Back at Martinsville Speedway, Carl Long's car number 15 just spun a moment ago on the restart. The caution did not come out. He got the car righty. That's the good news. The bad news is the leader is to his outside, getting ready to go by to put him a lap down.
There we see Kevin Evans down there. We see Carl Long, the white 15, right behind Conrad Burst, makes some contact with Conrad, and Tammy Joe comes along, touches him in the rear, and knocks the left front fender off Tammy Joe's car, but Carl Long goes down, almost backs in the wall. And the sponsor that we see on Carl Long's car, that's the Jimmy V Foundation.
Mentioned that the Jimmy V Foundation isn't actually sponsoring the car. People think, why they spend the money on a race car? Actually, Carl Long put that on the car to try to draw awareness to cancer research and the Jimmy V Foundation. They're doing that just as a favor to the V Foundation.
All right, there we see Stephen Christensen in the 0 car trying to get back Carl Long. There's her leader. Just went by the 54 there, Shane Hall and Ron Young. And you talked about the veterans, and Ron Young being one of the veterans in this. He's 25 years old, so another young man with a lot of racing experience. And Toby Porter trying to go by on the outside. Now he's going to try it on the inside.
And here's a battle back in the pack.
Wayne Anderson at 25, the 57 of Mike Cope, and Wayne Willard in the 0-1, and all these fellows been able to get by Stephen Christensen in the 0.
All right, you're still okay. Long way to go here.
That's David Green talking to Mike Cope. Battle for second spot. Ron Young in the car number 4. Shane Hall in the 85. And behind him, Toby Porter. As they chase our pole sitter and leader, Kevin Evans. Talked about Ron Young being a veteran, Benny. He's 25 years old. He has 87 career starts in all-pro competition, yet he has not won the first race yet. He has a pole, but hasn't won, but having a great run today. You watch this battle back for 13th, 14th, and 15th.
Two cars, Steve Allison. I guess he's a nephew of Bobby Allison. Scott Sutherland in the 23 car.
There's Steve. Damon's the place for ribs. See, the front of the car says a D-Bird. Not a T-Bird, but a D-Bird. That's because their sponsor is Damon's. That's pretty cute for Steve. He is the son of Tommy Allison Sr. As you said, the nephew of Bobby and Donnie Allison.
Wayne Anderson in the, I guess that was Jeff Foltz in the 30 car. In front of him, yes.
Battle for 6th spot, 6th, 7th, 8th.
Looks like 7th, 8th, and 9th. Mike Cope, Wayne Willard, and Steve Christensen.
Stephen Christian is a rookie, Benny, and in the opening race this year, he finished second. Pretty impressive for a rookie driver running his first race in all-pro competition. That's the driver of the car number 0 on the right side of your screen.
Yes, you're right. Christian. I've been calling Christensen, haven't I? It's Christian. Yes, thank you, Gary.
You're looking, Mike. Looking.
And Willard. Oh, contact.
Stay up. One more. Clear behind the 0.
David Green, we saw him just a moment ago. That was his voice telling Mike Cope what was going on.
More troubles for Carl Long. Let's take a look again as Long comes out of the corner and gets a tap from behind by
Jeff Foltz in the 30 car. He was trying to get out of Jeff's way and could not get out of the way quite in time.
Jeff, another rookie driver in the car number 30. As you see Carl having his troubles. Let's check in once again with Bill Weber.
Well, Kevin Evans continues to lead, but he continues to have that overheating problem. They've talked about parking the car, and that is a possibility. They don't want to burn up their equipment. The 41 goes around again. If they slow him down, that car could overheat even more, guys.
Up front, change for the lead. Shane Hall slides to the inside, but slides across the racetrack. Here comes Kevin Evans back. Lap traffic. That's Rick Lambert in front of him in the 88 car. And Evans makes the pass back. Boy, that's a Dale Earnhardt maneuver there.
I don't think Shane Hall led a lap because he was in front in 1 and 2. They don't score down there. I do believe that Kevin Evans will still be leading every lap so far. What a move.
Why? Boy, Shane Hall made the move, but just too much momentum, and the car slipped up, and right beneath him, Evans came in turn 2. So it's Evans, Shane Hall, Ron Young, and Toby Butler. Toby Porter in the car number 44.
Just a moment ago, as we saw the 41 car spinning, we saw the 96 car. That was Dan Matthews. He has parked his car out of the race for competition this afternoon. Now the leaders are starting to lap of Daniel Johnson in the 3 car. There we see Daniel Johnson. That might be an opportunity for the 85 Shane Hall as they come off the corner. No.
Challenge for 3rd spot as we check in once again with Bill Weber.
Well, you know, Shane Hall'd really like to take the lead in this race, and he'd be one of the most surprised guys out there if he did, because he really didn't want to be here today. He really wanted to be back in his shop in South Carolina building push cars, and he's still trying to charge into the lead as they head down the backstretch. But since they have not secured sponsorship for that Busch Series program on a full-time basis, they didn't have the money to buy equipment, and they really didn't have anything to do. Shane had a couple of cars sitting around, decided to come racing in Martinsville on a Saturday afternoon. Now he's challenging for the lead.
Well, if you gotta go somewhere, not bad to come race on national television. Shane Hall running in 2nd spot, Ron Young 3rd. The 44 car in 4th spot of Toby Porter.
And Bill, these cars are really starting to slip and slide around the racetrack. The leader, Kevin Evans, starting to slip as he goes in the corner, got to drift up. When he gets on the accelerator, the back end's coming around. We see him dancing off the corner much worse than we did earlier in the race.
So, as the Winston Cup stars watch the stars of tomorrow race, Kevin Evans leads here at Martinsville after 60 of 200 laps. We'll be back. Track Facts are brought to you by Quaker State, the motor oil that exceeds the highest standards for engine protection.
Well, it won't be long before the pit window opens for this race. If you're one of these crew chiefs and your driver calls in and says the car is too loose or too tight, well, you're going to have to make an adjustment. If it was a Busch or Winston Cup car, you'd go to the rear window and crank wedge in or out of it. But you can't do this on these cars. So what do? You come up here to the front. You lift off the hood. Quickly, you take this tool, or loosen it. You can tighten it or loosen it. Then you flap the hood and send your guy back out. That's from Benny's book on chassis setup. We talked a little bit about it on the modified last week, and that's exactly how they do it here in the Slim Jim All-Pro Series, guys.
And Bill, those are coil-over shock absorbers, and Benny, that makes it pretty simple as far as making an adjustment. Simple as far as in the pits, but not as easy on the racetrack during a pit stop.
No, as a matter of fact, much more difficult than a Winston Cup car. Once again, the battle still rages. We saw Ron Young, the 4 car, a little bit out of shape as he came off the second corner. By the way, I want to say hello to Stan Malden, one of the crew members on Ron Young's car. He had quadruple bypass down in Atlanta a couple of weeks ago. He's home now, should be home now, recuperating. So all the fellas were thinking about you, Stan, and said to say hello. Look at there, Crawford, the 14 car, the blue car, has caught this group.
Now you see Rick Crawford now in 5th spot. Started back in the pack in 14th position. There's the 4 and 44 of Ron Young. The blue car, top of your screen, the 14, that's Rick Crawford, our point leader for 1996 the Slim Jim All-Pro Tour. If you watch that battle for 3rd spot between Ron Young and Toby Porter.
Almost said Butler again, didn't you, Jerry?
That's Butler on the brain, I guess. There is Crawford, currently 5th, started 14th. He won this race a year ago. That was his only win in 1995 in the All-Pro Slim Jim Series for NASCAR.
Wayne Anderson behind Rick Crawford. The silver car. Meanwhile, Shane Hall.
Slow car, very bottom.
Shane Hall still trying his best to get by Kevin Evans. Once again, Donnie Johnson, a 3 car. And if the
Daniel Johnson.
If the 84 car is, in fact, overheating, as Bill Weber has talked about, well, he definitely does not want to lose the lead, because if he starts following cars, his car, the water temperature is going to be even higher. So it would really create a problem for him if he'd have to run behind these fellas.
They go file up front. Chevrolet in the first 5 spots. Kevin Evans was our pole sitter. If you just joined us, the Evans Construction Chevy Monte Carlo out of Rome, Georgia. He's the car number 84. Behind him is Shane Hall, who finished 10th in the points a year ago. Now running for Rookie of the Year in the Busch Series. Having a weekend off in Busch competition, coming here to drive. That's a Stegall Motorsports car. It's owned by his father-in-law.
I think it's Don Stegall. Looks like Toby Porter has just decided to take it easy and just let things play out, because we can see still 124 laps to go.
Battle for 16th position. Tammy Jo Kirk in the 52 trying to hold off the car number 95.
And Clifford Strickland in the 95 car. Sponsored by the Mississippi Tourism Department. It says call 1-800-WARNIST.
And if you call that number, they'll give you information, send you brochures on tourism in the state of Mississippi.
Oh, Tammy Jo, and Clifford gets sideways as we're watching. We've seen Nipper Austin go by. The 74 car almost made contact, but meanwhile, there goes the leaders by, and that will put Strickland a lap down.
There's Clifford Strickland in the car number 95, right in front of the 01 car. He pulls right up in front
of Wayne Willard
out of Beaufort, Georgia. Look again at what happened to Strickland here on the last lap down in turn 1.
He just jumps on the gas trying to accelerate by Tammy Jo, and around he goes.
A little nip from Nipper behind, but Nipper really didn't have anywhere to go. Nipper is William Alsop or Bill Alsop Jr.
Oh, the leader is off the pace. Kevin Evans down to the inside. And looks like it is over for the day for Kevin. A tough break.
Young man, we heard reports from the pits that he was overheating, and maybe the temperature just got up where the car would not run anymore. But whatever the case, he is on his way to pit road. And by virtue of being the pole sitter, he had the very first pit at the far end of the pit road. Heads down at 35 miles an hour as the leaders there are in the backstretch. That is Shane Hall, car number 85, being shown as the leader, as Evans is still yet to make it to his pit.
And he's going behind pit wall. He's not even going to stop in his pits. He's going behind pit wall, and he and the crew will crawl on each other's shoulders, and try they will.
And there's a young man, the Evans Construction Chevrolet. Let's go to Bill Weber.
And Kevin still sits in the car. He's unbuckling his helmet. Now he takes it off, and we'll lean in here for a second. Kevin, I know you're disappointed. Just overheated on you.
Well, we were just able to ride it out today, and the motor was tightened up about 2 hours before that, and it was just getting worse and worse. So I just sort of tried to save what we had.
Had a good car.
Yeah, the guys at the shop had me ready all day. They've worked on it all week, but had a good weekend. I just want to thank NASCAR and Slim Jim for giving us the opportunity to race here.
Okay, he's behind the wall, and the caution's out again, guys.
Conrad Burr showed a little flame from beneath the 30, from the side of that 33 in the exhaust.
That's just raw fuel pouring out of the engine down in the exhaust because the exhaust is so warm it ignites the fuel.
Conrad, one of the veterans here, bringing out caution for the 5th time here at Martinsville Speedway. Looped that car around up in turns 1 and 2. Safety crews are there.
They're all concerned. All he wants is a push. All they're concerned about the fire, and all he wants is a push. Get this thing going.
And so after 85 of 200 laps, we are under caution once again as Shane Hall is shown as our leader. Ron Young, Toby Porter, Rick Crawford, and Wayne Anderson in the top 5. Back at Martinsville Speedway in Martinsville, Virginia, under caution for the 5th time, Conrad Burr's car gets a push, and all the leaders were on pit road. Rick Crawford was in the pits a moment ago, and the crew not real happy right now. They were held by the NASCAR Slim Jim official, apparently for some infraction. Let's listen.
I couldn't get it out. I was supposed to. That's all he told me on the radio and told me.
Let's go to Bill Weber.
Big time done the right thing. He went over and moved.
He was very upset down here. Apparently the hose was running under the car. What'd they hold you for?
I didn't hear you. I'm sorry.
What did they hold you for?
They dropped the car down on the right-hand side, and it left it right down on the air gun. And we had to go around and get another air gun. That's what it was for.
Okay, so they got held because the car ended up on the air hose, and the official didn't like that, and they're not happy with that decision.
That'll cost them a lap, Bill. So Crawford, who was being shown in the top 5, fifth position, now being shown a lap down in 22nd spot. So that certainly, as the point leader, here again is what happened. Now look at the left right rear tire. See that gun laying on the ground and the hose underneath the car.
And the official is saying back in the right rear. And the fella just could not he can't get the hose out to go around and change the left side. So he went across and he got another air gun. Evidently the 3rd gun, just like in Winston Cup, is against the rules.
And so the official was correct in his call, and not a happy situation in the Crawford pits, but unfortunately that was an
You want to pass you, don't worry about it.
that had to be enforced.
Stay right behind the Ford. As soon as they give you the 1 to go, you can get up and on it right in front behind the Felix car. 1 to go at the line, Ricky. 1 to go at the line.
They're telling him that with the 1
Hang on a second.
1 to go signal, he'll
Go.
move up. Now the crew chief just going to take the headset off and walk around and cool off for just a moment. Just trying to get a little breath of fresh air. As you watch the spotters, they were talking to him a moment ago, letting him know they're going to give the 1 to go, and indeed they do this time.
Now that 14 car should be a lap down. What's he doing passing cars? Somebody needs to say something to NASCAR.
First in on the back stretch.
Downhill. Is he rolling at all? Straight
Rolling, just all barely rolling. I believe he is.
10-4, they have the 14 post.
Might not make it.
All right, get ready here. Get warmed up, Bill.
1 to go.
Going up.
But his motor is dead.
That's basically all the spotters talking at one time. If you were trying to listen to all of them, you probably couldn't understand a thing, but if you picked out a few different voices, you heard what they were saying. As Crawford now moves up to the inside.
He's supposed to be in the front. I don't know what.
All the right there. They're going to think out. Okay, get line. All right, hold on. Hold on. Go. Go, 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 go.
Green flag waves. Rick Monroe waving it from the flag stand. Restart lap 92 as all the lap lead cars did pit under that caution flag. We may not have mentioned it coming back from break. We're covering the Crawford situation, but they have been on and off pit road, including Shane Hall and the car number 44 of Toby Porter.
Sure, I don't know.
I guess Shane Hall did not pit.
Yes, I didn't remember seeing him in the pits. Crawford has 4 fresh tires. He definitely needs to get back to the front. and get in front of the leader and then hope for a caution flag.
And let's update those pit stops. The fact that Shane Hall did not pit, and who did pit, and what they did with Bill Weber. Bill?
Well, Doctor, let me tell you, they didn't pit. Shane Hall did not pit, and here's why. The weather. They feel there's a storm on the way. They did not want to give up track position, so they stayed out. They're hoping that the weather and their strategy will pay off. Other guys like Toby Porter and Mike Cope came in, got fuel and 4 tires, and they are good to go to the finish. Talking to these guys this morning, they felt the pit window would open about lap 85, and that's just about when these guys came in. So now Shane Hall is out there on older tires, hoping the weather can help him out.
And maybe the fuel could be a question. A lot of the guys were concerned that they couldn't make it 200 laps. They could make it about 190 to 195. So unless we do get some inclement weather moving in, Shane Hall's going to have to come in and get some fuel.
Well, I think he's going to have to come in and get some tires. He might be able to run on fuel, but I don't think he can make it on the tires that he has on the car, because I think in another 30, 40 laps, he'll be slipping and sliding all over the racetrack. Then we see Nipper Alsop in the 74 car, and the 57.
All right, there you go. Keep coming.
Mike Cope, a little bit of contact as they go in the corner. Alsop goes up the hill, and Cope and the 43 of Bobby Hamilton takes the spot. There's
Hold up next.
and the new leader, Toby Porter. And what caution flags up?
Caution is flying on the racetrack, and
Turn 3, there's some debris in the racetrack, and Porter, I guess.
another hood over there in turn 3 as you see it off one of the cars. Apparently this one coming off the 81 car of Tony Walls.
That'd be a fair assumption.
That will bring out caution for the 6th time today. So we will not have a lead change. Shane Hall will remain our leader as we approach the halfway point. Back in a moment.
Due to time constraints, we now move ahead in this ESPN program.
After 8 laps of caution, the green was waved just 1 lap ago. We might mention that Shane Hall, neither Shane Hall nor Toby Porter pitted on that caution about 15 laps ago. So both those cars thus remain at the head of the field. The 85 is Shane Hall, and the 44 is the 21-year-old Toby Porter, who currently sits 3rd in the overall point standings.
Toby Porter, the 44 car, told me this morning that he may run some Busch races in 1996, and hopefully will run for the Rookie of the Year in the NASCAR Busch Series in 1997. So this young man's future looks very, very bright in the world of stock car racing.
Porter had 2 wins a year ago in Pensacola, Florida, and a very, very impressive victory right here on ESPN at Bristol, Tennessee last June. On the high banks at Bristol, 4 career wins in the Slim Jim All-Pro Series. Shane Hall has 1 victory in the series, that coming at Greenville-Pickens Speedway back in August of 1994. Here's a replay of Brad Payne and Rick Crawford having a little contact here a lap or so ago. Payne the 22, Crawford the 14.
And I tell you what, Payne did a good job. Otherwise, Rick Crawford would have been eating up some concrete. Brad Payne goes down and runs off the and some contact between the 44 and the 85. Just slight contact. Shane Hall gets everything back under control.
We might mention our 3rd place car, Wayne Willard, did pit. Now, Willard, thus far running in 3rd spot, did take on 4 tires. You see, he started back in 12th position and is running 3rd. Our 4th place car is a rookie driver, Ron Young, moving inside of Anderson.
Takes over the 6th spot, puts Anderson back to 7th.
Anderson, you see a little flame from that car. He is a 2nd-generation driver, son of Dickie Anderson, Mr. Short Track in Florida. Over 800 career short track wins, as Dad has, down in the Sunshine State. Back up front to our leaders. Shane Hall, not running the full tour this year. Slim Jim All-Pro Series, finished 10th in the points a year ago. Decided to opt for the Busch Pro Series this year, trying to run for Rookie of the Year. He's currently 4th in rookie point standings. If you take a look at our AutoZone race recap, Shane Hall, our leader, has led 34 of 112 laps. There have been 3 lead changes, 6 cautions for 35 laps. The average speed, 66.324 miles per hour. Who have been our leaders? Well, you see our pole sitter led for quite a while, 78 laps for Kevin Evans, and Shane Hall has led 34 laps. Out of race, Ingold, Renfro, Matthews, and Evans, who was the pole sitter. 32 cars started, 28 still running. In fact, 16 are still on the lead lap.
The 52, there's Tammy Joe, Tony Walls, and Rick Crawford. Crawford was in front of Tony Walls a couple of laps ago. I don't know how Tony was able to get back in front of him, but Crawford's trying to do something about that now. He really zigs it in there. As a matter of fact, he zung it in there a little bit too deep.
Inside.
Tammy Joe spotter telling her that Tony Walls is on the inside, and
that's 13th and 14th. Tammy Joe currently being shown in 14th spot with Tony in 13th. Battle for 5th. Steve Allison in the car number 2, and Ron Young on the outside.
And Young takes over the spot. Ron Young, nice young man. Meanwhile, there's a battle for the 3rd spot. 0-1 is Willard, and the 0 car, Christian Stephen, and Derek Gilchrist in the 83 is backed up against the wall. Down in 3 and 4.
That's the Tar Heel Wood Treaty Company Chevy. Gilchrist out of Raleigh, North Carolina, and that will bring out the caution for the 7th time today. And let's see if we can take a look at the replay and see what might have happened to Gilchrist. Tony Walls on the inside.
And a little contact as they go in the corner, and Tammy Joe goes by, Crawford goes by, and Gilchrist backs it in the fence. But fortunately, not too hard.
Not too much damage on that young man's machine.
And it still won't start. No, that's a tough break. When those things, and these cars do not use alternators, folks, so the battery on these cars often go dead and will not restart a car because the alternator is just weight they feel like they don't need to carry around, even for a 200-lap race, because they don't run a lot of coolers and fans for the gear, the fluids in the rear end and transmissions.
Remember, neither of our front 2 cars have pitted, and they stay on the racetrack behind the safety car after 119 laps. We'll be back. Back at Martinsville Speedway, the NASCAR Slim Jim All-Pro Series Goody's Headache Powder 200. Shane Hall being shown as our leader, still under caution for the 7th time today due to an incident over in turn 3 involving Tony Wall and 18-year-old Derek Gilchrist.
Down in the corner, Wall's trying to get under Gilchrist, and just slight contact, and Gilchrist goes up the racetrack. But under all pro rules, they revert back to the preceding lap, so Tony Walls will go back in front of, and Gilchrist is telling Tony that he didn't appreciate that.
Now take a look at the back end of our leader's car, 85, Shane Hall. We said that we had a report of something dragging beneath that car number 85. Hard to see there with Nipro. Yeah, look beneath the right rear tire. Looks like some kind of ductwork is dragging.
Probably some ductwork for the brake hose on the right rear.
Great camera work, guys. Back to green flag racing action. Martinsville Speedway. Glad to have you with us. Bill Weber, Benny Parsons, here truly, Jerry Punch. Lap 125. Last caution lasting for 6 laps. We are 75 laps away from conclusion. And Shane Hall trying to pick up his first win of 1996. Remember, the cars, a number of the leaders, there's a couple of cars out of shape coming out of turn 2. A number of leaders pitted, but the first two cars did not pit and have not pitted since the race began. Shane Hall nor Toby Porter, number 44, have pitted. The Willard car, 01, he has pitted, so he's in good shape as far as making the rest of the way on tires and fuel. Stephen Christian, the 0 car, came in and took only right side tires. He gives Willard a little bit of a shove. Ron Young also came on pit road.
15, Carl Long is on pit road after being flagged by the NASCAR officials. Evidently, he did something wrong on the restart, so the NASCAR officials brought him in and said, Carl, don't do that anymore. Ron Young trying to get on the inside. Will he bury it on down in there, and will Christian know he's there? Yes, he does, and yes, he did. Oh, contact between the two. And Young had the spot, and the contact caused him to get off the throttle, and Christian takes the spot back.
26-year-old Stephen Christian, first time here at Martinsville Speedway, will be in jeopardy of losing that spot as they enter turn 1.
And this time, Young does make the pass, and here comes Wayne Anderson, the 25 car. And I tell you what, this fiberglass does not lend itself to this bumping and bashing, does it?
Not much at all. It'll bow, and it may bend, but eventually it's just going to come apart. Already seen a couple of cautions for debris on the racetrack. Wayne Anderson taking the spot away.
Finally, Rick Crawford is able to get by Tammy Jo Kirk. You see Steve Allison, the 2-car behind Tammy Jo. This is the Lovables onboard camera. The Lovables is women's lingerie.
They're out of Beaufort, Georgia. You're riding along on Tammy Jo's roof cam. Might mention the car number 2 is Steve.
Tammy Jo gets it sideways. And Steve Allison is down in the grass.
I was just about to mention the car number 2 of Steve Allison had made a pit stop and was on fresh tires. His car has not refired, and we do not have a caution flag. Leaders will come by. There's the Allison car on the access road there off of Pit Road, and he's still sitting there off of the racetrack. And now the caution will be waived for the 8th time. Here's Shane Hall, Toby Porter coming out of turn 4.
Let's watch as they go down in the corner, and Allison goes to the inside, and some contact, and the Lovables car is sideways. There's a
different angle
bumper sticker flying around this weekend. A lot of folks have it. Says burn rubber, not bras. Compliments of the Lovables folks.
Lovables, the world's largest manufacturer of women's brassieres. That's what they are, and they're sponsoring Tammy Jo Kirk. And on that note, we'll be back after 133 of 200 laps at Martinsville Speedway. Stay with us.
Due to time constraints, we now move ahead in this ESPN program.
And a half a lap ago, the green flag waved for Shane Hall, Toby Porter and company.
Battle for 3rd spot. There we see Ron Young, the 4-car, on the inside of Wayne Lewis, the 0, Steve Christian. He's going to be held in the pits by the NASCAR officials. He's a lap down. So Ron Young will take that 3rd spot away. Could it be that Shane Hall and Toby Porter's going to try to go all the way?
That's the word. They're going to try to go from flag to flag without a pit stop. No fuel, no tires. 60 to go here in the Goody Headache Powder 200. Glad to have you with us, Bill Weber, Benny Parsons, and Jerry Punch, bringing you action. Whoa! Steve Allison gets T-boned in turn 3. The car number 30 couldn't quite get it slowed down. Jeff Fultz, a rookie from Fayetteville, Ohio, in the King Motorsports Chevrolet, as Allison's car had spun up across traffic, and Fultz had nowhere to go.
And did he nail him? Fultz has his car going again, and he drives away. Let's watch. There we see Allison, the white number 2, followed by closely by Rick Crawford, and just a little bit of contact there as they go in the corner. Allison locks up the brakes. Crawford gets by, but Fultz has no place to go and nails him in the left front.
Boy, Crawford just did get by. These caution flags, by the way, the 9th caution of the day, are going to help the front 2 cars that have not pitted. As there's the damage on Steve Allison's Damon's a place for ribs. Looks like those ribs are a little bit smushed. Back with more from Martinsville after this. Stay with us. NASCAR Slim Jim All-Pro Series action coming away from Martinsville. 9th caution flag today as you're riding along with Carl Long with the Jimmy V Foundation roof cam. Here's a replay of what happened a moment ago, BP.
That's 95 Clifford Strickland, the Mississippi car that he and Steve Allison, the 2-car, make some contact. Now, Allison tries to dive to the inside. does not think he can make it, and he hits the brakes, locks up the rears, which spins him, and here comes Jeff Foltz in the 30, and zap, right in the left front.
And here's Tammy Jo's roof cam as she gets through in the lovable Chevrolet. Now, she got by on the inside, and Rick Crawford, the point leader, just did get by on the outside. We're getting set for a restart. Riding along with Tammy Jo Kirk, and Shane Hall will lead him down out of turn 4. Lap 146, 54 to go. 4 laps on that caution flag.
Now, Ron Young in the 4-car stopped to change tires, so if he can get by the 0, Steve Christian, without too much trouble, he might be in pretty good shape against the 44 and the 85. The 44 being Porter and the 85 with Shane Hall. And I tell you what, with only 55 laps to go, it looks like Shane Hall and Porter kind of played their hand. They can't stop now because we still have 11 cars on the lead lap. They would have to go to the rear of those 11 cars. And Porter, Toby trying to get to the inside.
Boy, the 9 caution flags really helping these two guys who have not had to worry about, have not stopped. They're still going to be worried a little bit about fuel. Talking about Toby Porter and the 85 of Shane Hall. The third place cars, as you mentioned, Vinny, Ron Young, Willard, those guys have stopped.
And Ron Young did not have a lot of trouble with Steve Christian. He was able to get by. So his tires, about 85 laps pressure.
Battle for 7th spot, excuse me, BP.
Between Hamilton and Tony Walls. And Walls, man, oh man, Tony's car's coming apart there on him. And meanwhile, that he goes by Bobby Hamilton, and here comes Crawford trying to go by Hamilton. So obviously,
Still there. Clear of it, clear.
You're watching the car number 14 of Rick Crawford. That car is owned by Tom Mitchell, who owns the Circle Wall Motel and RV Park in Ozona, Texas. Now, they're very proud of Rick Crawford.
Okay,
They're even prouder.
Take it easy on the tires. Nice move there now. Keep it going. Keep it going.
Of the Ozona Lions. For the 2nd year in a row, that high school, the girls' high school team there in Ozona, Texas, won the state championship. But recently, Bobby Bryson, who is their leader, was diagnosed with leukemia. Bobby is at St. Jude's Hospital undergoing treatment, and the Crawford team, they have tied those ribbons and armbands on today to dedicate this race to Bobby Bryson and her speedy recovery.
and Wayne Anderson, the 25 car, alongside Wayne Willard, takes over the 4th spot. So there we see the scoring pylon on the left side. The line between the 0-1-57 just to distinguish between 5th and 6th, so you can find those a little quicker.
So it's Hall, Porter, Young, Anderson, and Willard in the top 5. There's the 57 car in 6th spot. That's Mike Cope, the 94 Series champion. How about that? Laps under yellow, 51. So a third of the event thus far, 9 caution flags, 51 laps. Let's check in on the pits with Bill Weber. Bill?
Well, as you guys were pointing out, the 85 and the 44, they're going the distance. In fact, Mark Holden, who's crew chief for Shane Hall, called it rolling the dice. They're in the exact situation Benny Parsons described. Too many guys on the lead lap. They can't pit now because they lose too much position. Obviously, the caution flag laps have counted and really helped out these guys. They felt 40 was the magic number to be able to go the distance. However, both the 85 and the 44 are concerned about the 4 car, that it has better tires and is running quicker laps right now, guys.
And let's see, Crawford trying to go by Mike Cope.
Hold him down the straightaway if you can.
That would be for 7th.
Clear. Come down. Good move. Good move. Get the rhythm now. Get a rhythm. Outside, Mike. Outside.
David Green, I tell you what, these guys...
Clear behind 43.
That's Bobby Hamilton in the 43 car, the Pontiac. That's his 2nd start this year in the All-Pro competition. Qualified 10th, finished 7th at Nashville, Tennessee. Plans to run today. I think also back in the fall at Nashville in the Slim Jim Series. And Tammy Jo, take a look, had a little trouble here getting a nudge from behind.
That's Scott Sutherland in the 23 car on the outside, and a little nudge. There we see Kevin Prince in the 87 car out of Wilmington, North Carolina. Here we go. Here's a live shot. Still Sutherland in the 23 car trying to get by.
Maybe that's 10th and 11th spot. They're on the lead lap as 12 cars still on the lead lap. Kevin Prince, the last car on the lead lap.
And Toby Porter is off the pace. And the left rear tire is flat. Look at the left rear, Bill.
Sure. It's the left rear, Benny. It's definitely flat. They've got the jack and the tires here. He's going to have to come in.
Boy, what a tough break for Toby Porter, who was running in second spot and just basically ran the tires off of it. Remember, these are Hoosier bias ply tires. The caution does come out. Shane Hall is coming up around on Toby Porter. Ron Young behind him. They will wait the caution for the 10th time. The safety car pulls out. Now we'll try to catch up in front of Shane Hall.
Now, I don't think he lost a lap yet, but
I don't think
he's got to go to the pit road now. When he goes to the pits and they jack the car up, when the pace car goes by, he will then be a lap down.
But he couldn't catch up to the field, so thus he will lose a lap in the pits. Well, he's going to try to catch up to the field. He's going to go on out and go around the racetrack. But with that left rear tire down, it's going to damage the fender.
That's not down. It's gone. I mean, I don't know that that's good strategy out there running on the rim. But maybe.
Well, if he can try to stay in the lead lap, he can at least stay in the top 12 as 40 laps remain here. As his crew now talking to the NASCAR officials, we are under caution for the 10th time at Martinsville Speedway. We'll be right back.
Due to time constraints, we now move ahead in this ESPN program.
Back in Martinsville Speedway, under the 11th caution flag today, 23-year-old Nipper also making his second All-Pro start. Had a little bit of a wild one up here at the turn.
Yeah, we see he goes down the corner. That's the white 74. He goes in the corner. Tammy Joe comes along, and Alsop has got going fast enough, so Tammy Joe clips him in the rear, and around he goes, brings out the caution flag. Here we got from the Lovable onboard camera. Meanwhile, we're back green.
4 laps for that caution flag. 25 remain. Shane Hall, if you just joined us, has not pitted in his Chevrolet. Ron Young, the second place car, has fresh tires, has much fresher tires.
There we see the first 3 cars, and I tell you what, the 81 car, Tony Wall, his car is really, really fast right now. I don't know if he'll be able to get to the front, but he has a very fast car. It don't look like much, but it's fast. It's awful, as a matter of fact.
It's torn apart. And Tammy Jo Kirk, we are told, has been black flagged in the car 52 as she brings that car down pit road. Buffalo Racing Chevy Monte Carlo to a halt. And the NASCAR official will wave her away. Battle for second spot. AutoZone race recap. Shane Hall, our leader, has led 97 of 175 laps. There have been 3 lead changes, 11 cautions for 58 laps, average speed over 65.5 miles an hour. Our lap leaders, all now being shown as having led the bulk of this event, along with our pole sitter Kevin Evans, out of race thus far. Ingold, Renfro, Matthews, Evans, and Johnson. Also out of the race is Steve Allison and the 30 car leading rookie contender Jeff Fulton.
There we see the first 4 cars, 1, 2, 3, 4, and only the 85 of Shane Hall has not pitted. All these other 3 cars have pitted and changed tires at lap 86 or so, somewhere between 85 and 90.
Well, Ron Young has been running the series, been running these kind of cars since 1988 and has never won, so he's going to be a sentimental favorite. That's the red and white numeral number 4 car in second spot. Now, Tony Walls, the 81 car, or what's left of the 81 car, just now loses his left front fender. That makes it now symmetrical in the front. Either fenders are in place. Looking more like a NASCAR modified.
Is that something or what?
Proof positive.
Oh, now he's fixing to lose the nose.
Yep. It's a proof positive aerodynamics aren't. Or maybe even a door. As Rick Crawford gets him in the side. My heavens, and that will bring out caution number 12.
About one more, and we'll have a baker's dozen, won't we, Jerry?
You correct. I mean, you know all that stuff about bakeries and donuts and pastries. I said baker's dozen, we're going to have 11. So a baker's dozen is 13 as Tony Walls gets it looped back around. Boy, Tony was having a great run. He's been here twice. He has never finished a race at Martinsville Speedway. And here's the left front fender saying bye-bye.
He hooks it on the rear of the 4 car of Ron Young, and it just blows back over the windshield of Rick Crawford. Now watch, he tries to go on the outside. Now he tries to come back on the inside, and meanwhile, Crawford is there, and around goes Tony. Almost puts Rick Crawford up in the outside retaining wall, and he puts his car in gear and drives away.
12 caution flags, and that's what's left of Tony Wall's car. That's where most of it is on the racetrack. We'll be right back. Pontiac safety car is pulled away, getting set for what may be the final restart. Don't bet on it, folks. We have 12 caution flags and still 15 laps to go. This latest caution for 3 laps, and Shane Hall, exactly where he's been the last 97 laps, will take off as the leader with Ron Young right behind him. And Rick Crawford, the car number 14, the Ford Thunderbird. 2 Chevys and a Ford in the top 3.
I'm really impressed with Shane Hall's car and how well it's running, because, again, it's not stopped for tires. And Crawford got the car a little bit out of shape as he came off turn 4.
The leader, Young in second in the car number 4. Crawford is third. And let's check in with an update on Ron Young from Bill Weber. Bill?
Well, Ron Young's been following Shane Hall around this track for a long time now. He just radioed to his crew chief, Larry Rabb, said, I know where his weakest spot on the track is. I know where I can get around him, but he cannot get around the 85 unless Shane Hall makes a mistake. So Shane's made his tires and his brakes stand up, and now Ron Young says he needs Hall to give away the race because he doesn't think he has enough to get by him and steal it.
That's Mike Cope, 57 car, the 01 Wayne Willard, and Scott Sutherland, the 23 car, about to lose some of his left front fender and hood, maybe even some of the body work. Lapping in the breeze there. That's a 23 car. He's being shown in the 8th position. That's 6, 7, and 8.
He might be taking over the 7th spot right now. Yes, he is. He's on the inside of Wayne Willard. 0 car, Steve Christian, is a couple of laps down. Meanwhile, here comes the 87 of Kevin Prince. He's in the lead lap.
Evans, a rookie driver. Former competitor at Myrtle Beach. World Series track champion down there. Back up front, there are the leaders. Shane Hall, the 85, Ron Young, and Rick Crawford. 87 career starts for the car number 4 of Ron Young. He has never won. Last year he had 15 top 10 finishes and 21 starts. Has the Busch pole, but has never gone to victory lane.
Just 10 laps to go. I'm sure that these drivers, spotters are all telling them right now, 3 laps, 10 laps to go, I'm sorry, 9 to go. You got to go. That's what they're saying to Ron Young, to Rick Crawford, and also to our leader, Shane Hall.
Shane Hall finished 10th at Volusia County in the season opener. Didn't run at Nashville in the All-Pro event. Ran the Busch Series event set up at Nashville Speedway.
Ooh, Crawford gets the car loose right in the middle of the corner. Looks like he's on dirt when he went through 1 and 2 that time.
Crawford's on.
Take it easy now. Take it easy.
That's his spotter telling him, don't use it up during the last 5 laps or so.
Well, he is dirt tracking, though, isn't he, Benny?
Yes, he is.
Sideways in the corner, Rick Crawford. He's got about 7 or 8 car lengths over the 4th place.
Slow car, very bottom. Clear.
That's the Wayne Anderson car.
Got one over here, Ricky. Slow down, slow down. Slow down low.
Derek Gilchrist, some heavy contact between those 2 cars.
There's Brad Payne's car. Replay of what happened here in turn 1.
Doesn't go down the corner, and Gilchrist goes in the back of Payne's car and then smacks the wall hard with the right side of his automobile. Payne said, just push the car. We'll be okay. Push it.
Fireman saying that we're out here to put out fires, not push race cars, so we're going to air his Gilchrist car. Fortunately, that Roadhouse machine. And remember, in this series, this is one of the touring series for NASCAR, did not finish races under the yellow flag. They will be green, white, and checkered. So if we have the caution flag continue, don't fear that we'll get a yellow flag finish. That won't happen, folks. Back with more from Martinsville after this. Lots of racing action coming your way for the weekend. How about a Sunday buffet? Breakfast, we'll start it out with a little bit of NASCAR. Slim Jim All-Pro Series Goodies Headache Powder 200. That's at 9 a.m. on ESPN2. And after breakfast, we'll take a deep breath and have some brunch. NASCAR Winston Cup Martinsville qualifying, 11 a.m. Eastern on the Deuce, and then RPM today. Kenny Mayne and the guys will tell you all about what's going to happen for the rest of the day in motorsports and what's going on around the world. After brunch comes Benny's favorite part of the middle part of the day, anyway, lunch. NASCAR today, Double D, Dave Despain on at 12:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Then our live flag-to-flag coverage. Bob Jenkins will be here. I'll be in the pits with John and Bill and the rest of the guys. Goodies Headache Powder 500, 1 p.m. Eastern. And then dinner time, yeah. One of Benny's mini meals during the day, Sunday buffet, Benny. RPM tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, as Kenny Mayne and company will wrap it up. And if you're still hungry, Benny, I know you are, quit nodding. Late night leftovers, NASCAR Winston Cup Goodies Headache Powder 500 at 12:30 a.m. That's Monday morning for all you folks who want to watch it again. Hopefully you will. That is Sunday buffet. Let's see a replay again of what happened here a moment ago.
Once again, that's Gilchrist in the 83 car, goes in the back of the 22 car of Payne. Watch Gilchrist. He smacks that wall awfully hard with the right side.
He hit it a ton up there. Fortunately, he climbed out and walked over to the ambulance, was able to smile. There are some of the scratches. That is some of the wall wounds. The war is a short track wars. Folks, it may be the shortest track on the circuit and the second flattest, but those two combinations make it maybe one of the best when it comes to watching racing action, NASCAR style. We're talking about H. Clay Earl's Martinsville Speedway here in Martinsville, Virginia. By the way, they have added 7,000 seats here. As you watch these fans and some of the crews now waiting for the final laps, the new Bill France Tower up in between turns 3 and 4. That'll be full tomorrow, or as Dale Earnhardt and Bobby Hutchins, his co-crew chief. Earnhardt, I like that hat on Dale. How about that ESPN hat on the Intimidator?
Where does Earnhardt get those at? Well, I'll have to see Dale getting me a hat, you know?
Yeah, I'd like to have one of those. And there is Earnhardt, and how about the youngster who won the title last year? Got to get him an ESPN hat. The DuPont driver, Jeff Gordon, watching very stoically and very seriously. Green, white, and checkered, and they're going to try to wave the green.
And the leader did not go. Shane Hall did not go. Ron Young has the lead.
He never pitted. He may have run out of gas. Now, remember, they were concerned it was lap 199. They had to run an extra lap for green, white, and checkered, and Hall may be out of fuel. Ron Young. And Hall hasn't said a thing on his radio. He's probably, as Young is going to try to hang on.
Flag, white flag.
For the first time in his career, apparently it's ignition, we are told. It's ignition for the 85 car, and Ron Young from Conyers, Georgia. There is Shane Hall's crew members would have been mystified as to what happened. Here is Crawford trying to run second, but Ron Young.
Nice run, buddy. Nice run.
Career start will pick up his first ever victory in the NASCAR. Slim Jim All-Pro. Are they happy or what? How about that for a young man who's been at it since 1988? Winner of the Goody Headache Powder 200, Ron Young, 25 years of age, Conyers, Georgia. He was there all afternoon, Benny. That's what you got to be. You got to be there.
You got to be there. And I tell you what, down in Atlanta, Georgia, Stan Malden, the gas man, is just tickled to death. They ever see Carl Wagner engine in that 4 car? And he is a happy, happy young man. Let's once again watch the restart and watch Shane Hall when he nails the gas. It just simply does not go. He nails it, and it quits. And luckily, Ron Young and Crawford were able to get by on the outside, because that could have been bad if he'd have turned that thing on. There we see Shane Hall taking a sip of a beverage.
Well, he can't believe it. Neither can this guy in victory lane. Ron Young, we'll come back and talk to him after this. Stay with us. Our NASCAR NASCAR Slim Jim All-Pro Series coverage of the Goody's Headache Powder 200 has been brought to you by Texaco Haviland Formula 3 Motor Oil. Controls volatility and fights vaporization. And by the NASCAR Story. To order, call 800-71-NASCAR. Well, for the first time in his career as an all-pro driver, Ron Young gets to visit Victory Lane, where Bill Weber is standing by.
And Ron Young is sitting in the car about to climb out. His crew right here in Victory Lane. And here comes Ron Young from the victorious car here at Martinsville. Congratulations.
Thank you, Bill. I tell you, we had a good race car all day long. I got to give my hats off to these guys and the crew. Goody's Headache Powder for sponsoring this race. Slim Jim All-Pro and all the Wagner Automotive and all the sponsors that made this possible. I tell you, we had a heck of a day, and I was unfortunate to see Shane Hall miss that gear on that restart, but I called the crew and told him, I said, you know, I know where he's weak at. If the good Lord will give us the power, we'll be there at the end.
If he'd stayed out there, do you think you could have gotten around him?
I don't know. He was awful strong. Like I told the guys on the crew, he was going to have to make a mistake for me to do it.
Yeah. How does it feel to be in Victory Lane?
I tell you, it's been 7 years, and it's been a long time coming, but we'll take this one.
And he's here to celebrate with his crew in Victory Lane at Martinsville, Virginia. Ron Young wins the Goody's 200.
And Ron will pick up the lion's share, Benny, of a $53,900 purse. And here's the final rundown. Rick Crawford coming from a lap down that penalty, which was then corrected by NASCAR to finish second.
And we see Wayne Anderson in third spot, Bobby Hamilton, Mike Cope, and Kevin Prince out of Wilmington in sixth spot. And Tammy Jo Kirk will finish eighth.
11 cars finishing on the lead lap, 16 through 30. You see that the car number 44, after having a pretty good run, Toby Porter, that 3-lap penalty cost him. He will finish in 17th spot.
And Tony Walls back in 22nd, ran so well, finished 9 laps down in 22nd.
32 cars started. The last 2 cars to finish, the car started on the outside front row. That's Randy Renfro and George Engel, the veteran of the All-Pro Series. Our point standings after 3 events now of 22 on the Slim Jim All-Pro Tour. Rick Crawford came in with a 35-point advantage, now has a 50-point advantage over Mike Cope, Wayne Anderson third, Scott Sutherland fourth, and Toby Porter is fifth. Once again, for Bill Weber and Benny Parsons, I'm Jerry Punch, congratulating 25-year-old Ron Young from Conyers, Georgia, his first win in his 88th career start in the NASCAR Slim Jim All-Pro Series, Goody's Headache Powder 200. So long, everyone, from Martinsville Speedway.